Finally we were standing there, in Italy, with a rental car and one last problem to solve. To find somewhere to sleep for these next few days. We hadn't booked any room in advance, because we kind of like to go with the flow. And somehow, the good things, they tend to do the same.
Vad är det med Slovenien och blåsa på gården? Är vi framme? Inte riktigt. Inte framme. Framme. Very soon, very soon.
So we headed for Slovenia, but one thing slowed our journey down quite a bit. Rivers. So many nice looking rivers.
Gubbarna kliar sig i ögat och tänker.
Via refrigerado para os dias de calor. Matando antes de nome, você teria agora.
Vad har de där bak i ryggen? Vad har de där bak i ryggen?
Det är enda. Det är en.
So when you, after hours on an airplane, finally find an active trout, then you just can't leave him there, eating all by himself. We had spotted a trout. He was steady feeding, not dry fly though, so this was a nymph game. But when you have something that you really need to do, then it's pretty hard to relax and get into the right mode.
Bra.
When you start to fish, the time, space and all the must do's disappears. Back home in Sweden, we are used to walk loads of kilometers and fish until pitch black darkness. And that's not really a problem if you have a tent in your backpack. This time though, one of those must do's that now risked disappearing was to find somewhere to stay.
Okay. Transporta. Satan bra sajt.
On that massive rock, we were kind of lost. We didn't really know what we were doing. And when you feel unconfident, then you're probably not gonna catch any fish either.
Ja, fan det är svårt alltså.
Ja. Ja, den där hade vi en chans på.
Ja, den där.
Hade vi varit igång när det var feeding så det var bra läge där uppe. Och då, för det var alldeles långt, jag trodde det skulle vara för långt. Det var lätt att få en fin drift där uppe. Uppifrån. Kom åt jättebra. Mycket närmare än jag trodde. Och då stod han också längre ner så då hade man inte spokan där uppifrån. Nej.
On our way to the little village of Tolmin, we saw two fishermen next to the road, and we decided to stop and ask them if they knew any accommodation nearby. Like a gift from above, our new friend Blaz had an empty cottage just 10 minutes drive away, where we can live if we wanted to. And it was not just an ordinary cottage, it was a super mega deluxe cottage.
Vad är det här? Körspår.
We spent the rest of the night on the porch, trying to take in the situation. No more quest left, and knowing that just around the corner, loads of beautiful rivers was floating. With such a good start of our journey, all of us was pumped and so full of expectations that we almost felt immortal. So we set course towards the rivers with a pit stop at the local fly shop.
Marmorata. Marmorata.
Kiva.
Y vuelvas, no aportas novedad, cruzarte aquí, que desatino fatal.
When we are fishing back home in Sweden, we tend to walk more than we actually are fishing, hoping that the grass will be greener on the other side or further upstream.
Hay algo siniestro en el mercado de flores que no cierra nunca. Ya no estás de moda en mi vida y el sueño es tan superior. Esta es mi parada, creo que mejor me voy.
Det känns som att Marmoratan gillar de här svarta sten. Alltså inte när det är så här ljus. De vill ha det där mörka.
Bien, un príncipe ahogado, un sueño al revés.
After hours of searching and speculating, our patience isn't at its highest, and that's the time to get creative.
vattnet där var det jävligt giftigt.
På andra sidan är
Ja. Jag tror vi gjorde bra val för den här sidan. Men...
At this point in our journey, we all looked a bit grumpy. There's always a time when a fisherman starts to question his own ability. And that's another lovely thing about fly fishing, because when you are there, at your lowest, the only thing you need to do is to find a new hotspot. And when you find a hotspot, you most likely find some hope as well.
Och en deal vi har gjort med gudarna är att det är stickdragning som gäller.
Oj.
Längsta strået vinner.
And kameramannen
Wins.
han vinner.
Max! Yeah!
Suddenly, you start to feel some kind of hope again.
Spräcka nollan. Nu går det bara ut för. Nu kommer det marmorata.
So when we finally had some hope again, we started to catch fish. But it was not the right kind of trout that we were looking for. Our main goal of our journey was to catch a marble trout. So we kept on going upstream, and further upstream we found a really nice dryfly spot. So we sent forward our friend Oscar, and Oscar had developed a special method of attracting trout among the Swedish mountains for several years.
Jag tror det är gojden.
And believe it or not, the method, yeah, it seemed to work. So we arranged a longest twig competition.
Kort.
Oj, har jag fan gjort för många? Jag har gjort en sticka för mycket.
Ja, men det blir
Men
bra.
det spelar ingen roll.
Längst in. Alla har fått kort.
Det blir kort.
Du är längre än mig.
Nej, du är fan längre.
Nej, Mauen är längre.
Mauen.
Mauen tar det.
Där var den lilla motherfuckern.
Oj, den är bra. Nu tog vi nerströms deluxe.
Det är Mainrole, den hoppar ju ingenting.
Det ska fan vara det. Fan, är det en marbo?
Jo, det är Mainrole.
Moddan, du kan ha en marbe.
En jävla regnbågsjävel.
We wasn't able to fool any marble trout this time. But the next day, our new friend Blaz had promised us to take us to a really nice river among the mountains. once again we had started a walking game, and Blaz was putting a lot of effort trying to spot a trout for us.
Ooh, it's a nice one.
And he succeeded, like he always do. But once again, we failed. So Blaz saw that we really needed to meet the real trout whisperer. But before we could meet him, we needed to do a quest. And first, we needed to head up to the mountains. And then, we needed to sacrifice a pig and make an old-fashioned barbecue. And the last thing we needed to do was to put a big swing on the trout whispering monument. And then he will appear. And he entered the riverside like a true trout whisperer. But wait a minute, isn't that the same spot where I was missing a trout the day before? Yeah, probably the same trout. After he had landed the first fish on his first swing, he was in a great spirit and invited us to tag along. And it didn't take long before he had spotted another fish, and this time it was a marble. He wasn't named the Trout Whisperer for nothing. He surely had some superpowers. Just one cast was enough for him, and the fish was securely hooked. So we just stood silently and watched as Clemens made our struggle look a tiny bit pathetic.
Ah!
We never caught a marble, but after all it was a worthy end of the trip. We earned a huge respect for that weird looking trout, and we got to make friends with a true divinity. That's got to count for something. To be continued sometime after this corona thing blows over.